Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a hot minute I've been on here. Today is one of my filming days at the studio. I have a new podcast session that I'm filming for a podcast channel here on YouTube. So let me clip this here so that okay. So how's life with you guys? How is life treating everyone? I know it's not easy. It's about the end of the year. Prices of stuff, prices of things, food, transportation, everything has skyrocketed crazily. The inflation is out of this world. I don't know how everyone is managing. For myself, I'm just holding on, you know, just like every other person. And I hope we all pull through because it's not funny. What have I been up to? I think one of the major things I've actually done in recent times is actually the event I usually organize for kids in my community every year. It's actually called Oral Spelling Bee. So it's actually a spelling bee for kids in my community. And every year around September, I always put together, the competition. And the kids in my community really, really love it. And, there's nothing that brings you joy as, seeing people excited for something, especially kids be very happy. I'm happy that, we're able to touch a little life. We're able to make somebody happy. We're able to, just, make somebody happy, even if it's for a minute, even if it's for a second, even if it's for a day. It means so much. So this is also like an appreciation video of some sort. I know that the brands might not get to see this, but we had Kellogg's Nigeria this year give us Go Grains, a couple cartons of Go Grains to give out to the winners of the competition. Champion Breweries also gave us Champ Malta to, entertain the kids and attendees of this year's event, and for that we're so grateful. I'm very appreciative to the marketing managers that pulled all the stops for us this year. We really appreciate it, and the kids were very happy. I also want to use this opportunity to thank my sponsors for this year's spelling bee. This year was special in some sort of way. I know some people will feel that this is not special, but it is to me. This year we had 3 women. So the spelling bee was sponsored by 3 women, just 3 women, and I'm so proud. Not that I'm not proud of the times that other people have come through. Trust me, I'm most grateful for anyone that has ever come through for oral spelling bee. It means so much to me. It's almost like, oh, you had this little idea, and everyone is supporting you to make this idea come to life. There's nothing as good as knowing that people have your back, people are supporting you, people are in your corner, people are rooting for you, or rooting for an idea that you have. So this year, 3 sponsors, and we had an amazing time. My first sponsor for this year's spelling bee is my amazing friend. I know that she doesn't want her name to be mentioned, but here we go. My friend Nidong Isidobeya, she took over almost everything this year. Auntie Infon, my very special auntie, she taught me how to spell, she taught me how to read. It's almost like a full circle moment for me, with Auntie Infon, because seeing someone who taught me how to read, someone who taught me how to spell, actually with me having a spelling bee idea and her supporting and sponsoring the event, means a lot to me, and I don't take it for granted at all. Then another person who came through, like, this one was a surprise. She's somewhere around here. I'm sure she's laughing if she's hearing me. My cousin Kate Amba Udo. Last minute, I'm just there. She calls me and I'm like, anything for your girl. And she's like, okay, don't worry, I got you. Then the next thing, I receive an alert and I'm like, whoa. I was surprised, but I'm so grateful for all of them. I'm so grateful for all of them. Like I said before, you don't know how it like, even in the littlest of support, like when somebody comes through, I'm someone who is very grateful. I understand gratitude, a lot. It doesn't matter what you do for me. Like, I appreciate everyone and I have a very grateful heart, I would like to say. And with that being said, oral spelling bee was a success. I also want to use this opportunity to thank my teammates. We call him the spelling bee master, Joshua also. This is somebody I just know randomly. I just know him as an oral guy. We've had him. He's been the spelling bee master for 2 years now. This time around, for some reason, I just did not reach out. Maybe because I had so many things, going through my head. I was thinking about getting the event hall. That one is another story for another day. I just called this. I think I called him like 3 days to the time. I'm like, oh, spelling bees on so day. He's like, okay, I'll come through. My friend Deborah Johnson, and I'm like, I'll just be like, for her, like I was on the phone with her, back and forth, telling her about the little progresses I made in organizing it. But she's one person that when I call her and I'm like, the spelling bee is tomorrow, she'll be there. I also want to use this time to really, really appreciate my very, very amazing auntie Afyong Ndegedege. Auntie Afyong Ndegedege is one person that is like, no matter what she has going on, she's like, okay, okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. And trust me, she'll be there because she's like the judge of the spelling bee. And I also want to use this opportunity as well to thank my coordinator, Mr. Honesty, who is also a teacher in one of the schools in Oral. Yeah, he's always, he doesn't, hesitate to give me feedback when I ask questions or when I call him. I'm like, I want to meet you, and I'm like passing things, because he's very conversant with the way competitions are run because he's done a lot of competitions. He's a teacher, so he'll be like, "Oh, do it this way, do it that way," and I'm really, really appreciative. And I know they always say I come late, I don't call, I don't do meeting, but when I call them, they answer. This is one of the things I really love about people who are very dedicated to community service, because at the end of the day what we're doing is for the community. There's actually there is no no reward of some sorts, because the only reward I get, as well as I'd like to think the same thing for my teammates, is that we're just happy that we're doing something for the community. For me, growing up, like I always say to people who ask me, what inspired you to do the spelling bee? Growing up, I was a kid who loved to read and spell. And, in class, I did well with spelling. So spelling bees, I used to watch, spelling bee movies, and I wished somebody had organized something like that for me to attend, because that's something, something that would have interested me a lot. So given the fact that nobody did it for me, I just took it upon myself to be like, okay, come on, I can do this. The kind of confidence that public speaking gives an adult is what, doing, like going through a spelling bee would do for a child, because you get to stand on the stage, hold a mic, spell, and I know it takes a lot of courage to do that. So I'm happy, to be able to do that for kids. Just gives me joy that they're happy. And one of the things, the other stressful things I get to do is, like, I get to go talk to brands and tell them about what we're doing. Some brands come through, some don't. It's fine. We know that if you didn't come through this time, you might come through next time. Same thing with the sponsors, the individuals we reach out to sponsor. So with that being said, spelling bee this year was successful, even though I was a little bit stressed. To even be honest with you guys, to this point, I still have a little trauma over what happened. Anybody that has ever planned an event knows that the most important part of every event is the venue. If you don't have a venue, it's almost as good as nothing. It's almost as if you don't have an event. For the 4 years we've had the spelling bee so far, or the 3 years prior to this year, we've had the spelling bee in one particular, venue, because the venue is actually a community owned, venue, even though it's being run by, the head of the union that govern our community. So, it's almost like you've had this venue for 3 years. So it's almost like the fourth year. Okay. We've been here, we've done that. I don't think we're going to have any stress, getting the venue, but it wasn't to be. In fact, as at midnight, the midnight to the day of the event, I wasn't even sure I was going to use the venue because for some reason I was being ignored. I was being ignored for reasons that till this day I don't know about. Like I don't know why anybody would ignore me. It was almost like the odds were stacked against the spelling bee. Like why would anybody even want to? Why would anybody want to deny kids of a certain community something that's owned by the community? I'd never understand. I guess that is going to be a story for another day. Like just the way everything made me feel, it was crazy. It was crazy to be honest because days after the spelling bee, I was still like mentally stressed, seriously stressed. I don't know what went down because, as far as I'm concerned, I played my own part, you know. But sometimes things like this happen to teach you a lesson because sometimes you just, you know, take certain things for granted and just be like, oh, we've had it before, why can't we have it again? You know, forgetting that somebody has the power to say yes or no. That's what I was up to the past week. I'm done with that now. I'm focusing on work, which is creating content. So, the name of my new podcast session is called More Than Headlines. Particularly today, my guest on the show, my guest is going to be a family friend. And I wanted us to talk about feminism, and sexism somehow, because for some reason, we seem to share, the same. We actually had a conversation before now. I'd like to think that we share the same ideas or the same thoughts on feminism at this point because a lot of people have made feminism into something like some people I feel confuse feminism with sexism. You know, sexism is actually when you feel that one sex is superior to the other while the other is inferior, and you just go about hating people. You just hate the other sex for no reason. While feminism is actually you know fight for equity of the sexes. So equal pay, which has to do with equal pay, equal opportunities for everyone. But then another thing is how some people have, turned. I remember the other day I was on Twitter and two Twitter influencers were going off on each other of some sort. So, and I remember this guy, trying to tweet something, about the person he was fighting with, and one of the words, the way he used feminism was as if feminism was now some sort of derogatory word. So it's almost like you want to tell somebody, oh, you're stupid or you're crazy. So feminism is now, used in derogatory form, which to me is very hilarious. I feel like if you don't know what feminism is, just forget about it. Then it also reminds me of a time Chimamanda said her feminism was actually not Beyonce's feminism, which, in all honesty, then I did not understand. But now I understand because whether we like it or not, the things that, you know, Beyonce might be fighting for might not be things that Chimamanda can relate to, as well as whatever Chimamanda is fighting for might be things that Beyonce cannot relate to. So I feel like feminism is personal. Make your own feminism into whatever you want it to be. Like I've said, feminism can be anything to you. Like I was saying to my friend the other day, I'm like, there are certain people who grew up in homes where, whether male or female, all the kids had, literally had access to the same things, did the same things, and there was no discrimination of any sort. Those kind of people cannot relate to why people are fighting for feminism. They might understand it, but they might not be as fierce as the others. While people who, have experienced some form of discrimination all in the name of, being, a woman or whatever, might have a fiercer stance to feminism. Like I also want to, like I was also telling my friend the other day, I said that the way you perceive feminism is also as a result of how you were introduced to it. So for somebody like me, I was introduced to feminism through prose and drama. I read about feminism. I never really, saw it. It was until I read about it then I started, noticing certain things. One of the earliest books I read about feminism should have been Second Class Citizen. And like I can remember not being happy after I read that book. Like, why would a human being be treated the way, she was treated? You know. And at the same time I can also understand how feminism can, become hatred for men. Especially if you've seen your mom or your loved one or your sister go through, a lot of bullshit. But at the same time, it's almost like hurting yourself just because somebody else is hurt. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying fighting for feminism is bad, but you know, you can fight for it without hating. Because at the end of the day, we all have brothers, we have our fathers, we have relatives who are men. Do you hate them? Unless you hate your relatives, then fine. So, guys, please watch out for the link of my new podcast episode called More Than Just Headlines. We'll be discussing everything: feminism, sexism, pop culture, whatever, everything that pops will be discussed. It's going to be so. I'd like you guys. It would be a lot of interesting topics, and about life, love, family, friendship, pop culture. Thank you guys. If you have watched up until this point, I'm really grateful. I'm really appreciative. This is actually one very long video. This is going to be a very, very long video. And I can't wait to see you guys on the other side of things. Do have an amazing, amazing week ahead.